Hey, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the DC Camp, a branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. But first and foremost, call Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kahakwadash. And of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who were well. I'd like to send salutations also out to the fellow Akim that are out there on highways and byways, week in, week out, not to mention the numerous amount of videos that are uploaded. All right, and go out to further help push this truth out across four corners of the earth, because time indeed is growing short, as the prophecies tell us. So here we have a really sad situation. The optics are not good in this one. All right. As it reads, Army veterans denounce U.S. support for Israelis' war in Gaza. Yeah, look at this. So let's go ahead and roll the video. And for those of you that watch this, somehow thinking about joining the military, a lot of people have often said, what is Jake doing in the military anyway? All right, but here we go. Hold on, for some reason I'm having... Why is this thing not...
The United States government is complicit in genocide. You have an obligation to the Constitution of the United States. I'm a disabled veteran.
There's a genocide! There's a genocide!
You
Stop!
are all complicit in genocide.
And no one's lifting a finger to say, hold up. These are our veterans. They're just like they're under some kind of spell. This is some wicked ass shit. But what do you expect? You know?
Ma'am, you're not allowed to film in here. We told you this earlier.
You're complicit in a genocide! You're complicit in a genocide! Eddie, there's a genocide! Eddie, there's a genocide! Come on, Eddie! There's a genocide! You're complicit in genocide of the Palestinian people! You are complicit! Come on, Eddie! Eddie, help us! Eddie, help us save them! Come on, Eddie! The Israeli terrorists are committing a genocide, and the U.S. Congress and Senate are...
What? You know they don't want to hear that. Israeli terrorists? What? See, all this facade that they've built up over the decades, it's all falling apart. I'm talking about these Amalekites and these others that pretending to be the chosen people of the Lord. It's all falling apart, and quickly, I might add. So what do you think they're going to do? That's what I like to ask people. I had posed a question years ago before I even, knew anything about the truth, and it was just basically common sense. You know the atrocities that these so-called white people committed while establishing, these countries, namely America and others. You know what they did, atrocities they committed. How much more do you think they're going to do to try to hang on to what they've got? That should make you consider a lot of things. It should make you, all right, wary of what's to come. And there's reasons why scriptures such as Isaiah 13th chapter and Daniel the 12th chapter, verse 1 and 2, well, especially 1, is in there. All right, in fact, let's get it, because 2nd Ezra also 15. So let's get this. Because people, namely these immigrants, As some have said, they've always had their tennis shoes on, their sneakers on, because a lot of them, they have a place to go to. Jake, there's a reason it says Jacob's trouble. All right. Jeremiah 30:7. All right. Especially here in America. Anyway, so this is the judgment of Babylon, and it's coming. All right. And you treat the people that have put their lives on the line, that you say you love so much, and I'm talking about America and its fake reverence for its servicemen. Come on. If anybody should have a voice, it should be them, right? Anyway, this is a judgment of Babylon, Isaiah 13:1, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. And this is something else that they can't stand, because we've been out there, and it's a means of fighting that they're not at least at this point prepared to go up against. All right, because this has to do with just basically the truth. And 2 Corinthians 10 and verses 4 and 5 about tearing down these strongholds being all these lies and this deception that's been going on, and we're tearing it down. How? Not by brute force, but by the word. All right. It says, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, the governments. It says, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. The Most High Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, mustereth the host of the battle. All right, and this being his prophets. That's what we're doing on a daily throughout the world, really, but especially here in America and in D.C. Oh, all right. It says 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Most High Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Most High is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Bad times are coming, all right? So all you tough guys out there, yeah, we gonna see. And you say, economics are really bad. Everybody's feeling it, especially them folks who aren't used to feeling it, all right? So there's a specific element there, all right? These people that haven't known hardship, all right, are now feeling it, and they're not responding well, all right? 8, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them, which is what's happening. Let's go into that pangs, all right? See me move this out of the way, move this up. Pangs. All right. Strong's H6735 to the yard. All right. As a throw, as a physical or mental pressure. Bad times. All right. Let's see. Also, a herald or errandur. All right. An ambassador, messenger, sorrow. That's what's coming. All right. Yeah, and it's well deserved. All right. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Most High cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Now, reading these scriptures, because we're going to go into something else, and it has to do with President. Now, as president-elect, he told you what he was going to do. and it had to do with the military. All right. Before even this, let me scroll on down. All right. Here it is. They say it could be very hard to do our job. Top military officers brace. All right. Let's take a look at this real quick. Senior officers, your top generals and such. All right. Top military officers brace for Trump's potential loyalty review. Why would you need a loyalty review? Well, if you remember his first term, there were, I remember at least one general that he had a falling out with. I think it was more than one. All right, and one ended up, I think, testifying against him. So you know that he was not too pleased. So what do you think he was going to do? Yeah, it's 2019 Army-Navy game. All right. It says senior officers in the U.S. military are preparing after reports of a potential new review process for top generals. A review they fear will vet personal loyalty to President-elect Trump. All right. On Tuesday, the Wall Street Journal reported on a draft executive order that is under consideration by the Trump transition team that would establish a so-called warrior board to review top generals over whether they should continue service or not, and whether they lack certain leadership qualities. Now remember, this is back in November. All right. He's the president-elect. He hasn't taken office yet and won't at this point for another 2.5 months. It says the proposal mirrors calls from conservative think tanks, lawmakers, and Trump to weed out what they call woke generals. All right. Broadly defined as officials who have promoted diversity in the ranks or supported taking vaccinations. While the exact details of the proposed new review board were unclear, including who would serve as the arbiters of a general's leadership, though they would be appointed directly by the White House and would be veterans, the senior uniformed military community immediately responded with concern that their commitment to avoiding politics would not be able to hold. The military is run by civilians, but the politics are supposed to stay outside, one currently serving Army Lieutenant General told Military.com. It could be very hard to do our job if we have to constantly be making sure we're appeasing someone on a political or partisan level. Senior officers and Pentagon officials interviewed expressed concerns about the ease with which generals who fall out of favor with Trump could find themselves under scrutiny. All right, most senior leaders have at some point in their careers publicly praised diversity as a virtue in meetings or at events, particularly as women and those from minority groups have gained more prominent roles within the ranks in recent years, and as a country that provides the military's recruiting pool has become more racially diverse. Remember, he fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, an Air Force general, who was a Jake. All right. Many have likely signed memorandums or sent out emails to their formations and emphasizing the importance of vaccines. All right, and so on and so on. All right. That's basically the point I wanted to make. Let's see. It says the Trump transition team's draft on restructuring the military cited General George C. Marshall's plucking board as a key precedent. You know, see, remember when the scriptures talking about they perform a diligent search? You just go back. I mean, they put in the research here, right? Going back to World War II. It says, as a key president established in actually before we got involved in World War II, established in 1940, Marshall's board was composed of retired officers who reviewed the performance of active duty officers. The thought was that too many senior officers were sticking around, blocking younger and more promising officers from promotion. Okay, I can see that. But we just know that's not all that's going on here. He says the hyper-fixated look at perceived diversity efforts in the force had created concern even ahead of the news about the review boards. with some defense officials and senior officers concerned over whether Joint Chiefs Chair General C.Q. Brown, that was him, the Jake I was mentioning, C.Q. Brown will be fired. Brown has spoken publicly about the challenges of climbing the ranks as a black man. One defense official said whether he's fired will be a canary in the coal mine and would immediately set a really bad tone for the Trump administration's relationship with the Pentagon. But did he care? No. He went on ahead and did it. All right. Let's see. During the Biden administration, Republicans in Congress have used military policies and actions of officers they label as woke as leverage to block or delay promotions. Colonel Ben Johnson, an Air Force officer nominated to one-star general, saw his promotion blocked by Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican of Missouri, using procedural tactics due to Johnson writing an op-ed about racial blind spots in the military. Can't even tell your own experience. So why would you? I mean, it's becoming more and more apparent that these people are deathly afraid of the history. All right. And they don't even want it mentioned. The foul shit that they have done. And this guy gets up here and says all the I can't say makings anymore of a tyrant, but he's acting like a tyrant. All right. I mean, not even worrying about the legislative branch anymore. It says executive order, executive order, executive order, executive order. All right, let's go back to what's remaining of the video here.
As Congress and Senate are complicit in funding the bombs that are forcing children to be slaughtered and massacred. Shame on this government. The United States of America is complicit in genocide. The Israeli terrorists are starving children.
If they'll arrest veterans, they'll arrest you.
Stop the bombs! Stop the bombs! Stop! Shame on you! You're complicit! This is your legacy! This is your legacy! Why are they arresting you?
They're arresting us for speaking out against genocide.
Stop the bombs!
The U.S.
Stop the
Congress
bombs!
is paying for the death of children,
Slaughtering babies!
women and children.
Stop slaughtering babies! We are being arrested right now for interrupting a foreign affairs hearing on nominations because the U.S. is complicit in genocide. They are complicit in the slaughter of babies.
When the United States Congress comes after veterans, they will come after you. Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a genocide. Take this one.
Rise up! Rise up, America! Rise up! It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time.
We're going after the voting dog.
Wow. Just wow. All right, let's go to another one. Now, that was November. Let's see. Another one. Let's see. Why Trump's pattern of purging our highest performing military officers is dangerous. All right. To President Trump, America's national interest appears to mean personal loyalty. All right. It says our standards will be high, uncompromising, and clear. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's message to the force, January 25th, 2025. All right. Donald Trump's pick for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, retired Lieutenant General Dan Kane. They brought him out of retirement. All right, and they're praising him. I'm going to skip on down. It says, there's no question of his capacity to lead, devotion to our country, character, courage, or competence, as if General Brown didn't possess those qualities. But those aren't the qualifications required by law to be the senior most military officer in our armed forces. Federal law requires the chairman to be active duty and have served in any of three senior roles: vice chairman, service chief, except the Coast Guard, or commander of a combatant command. Kane fails to meet one of these. The president can waive most of the qualifications if he determines it is in our national interest. But the only justification that President Trump has stated for waiving these legal standards in this instance is that he remembers Kane stating he loved Trump. So that's his only. Wait a minute. He loved Trump and would kill for Trump, and that Kane proudly donned a MAGA hat, which, as Trump gushed, would be a violation of federal law. Strangely, Kane has categorically denied that he ever did any of those things, which means either Kane lied under oath or that he told the truth and Trump has no justification. To President Trump, the national interest appears to mean personal loyalty. The nomination of Kane is just the latest example in a dangerous pattern of President Trump purging in multiple reckless and sudden bursts the military of its highest performing general officers from mission critical roles. Why? Because they promised loyalty to the Constitution instead of to him. And that's exactly why I'm doing this, because here's that divide. Those that, when you take the oath, clearly had stipulation there to defend against the enemies of the country, both foreign and domestic, right? Okay. Let's see. Their firings have nothing to do with upholding high standards at all. They are about prioritizing fealty over qualifications and putting our national security at risk in the process. Let's look that word up in case you don't know. All right. Just add them online. All right. Loyalty. Fidelity. All right. Homage sworn by a vassal to his overlord. Can't think of a better way of putting it. So this is faithfulness. All right. Simple. Vassal swearing. Oh man, that's just how Trump looks at it too. The only reason this chairmanship vacancy exists in the first place is because President Trump unceremoniously fired without cause General C.Q. Brown Jr., who was serving and excelling in the role. But he considered him DEI. Yeah. General Brown didn't just meet the legal qualifications to be chairman, he embodied them. He brought his 40 years of honorable service in the Air Force to overseeing U.S. military operations in at least 6 active war zones and advised the Defense Secretary on responses to 3 tense international crises. Prior to being chairman, General Brown served as Chief of Staff of the Air Force, commanded Pacific Air Forces, and flew more than 3,100 hours with over 130 in combat. By firing such an exemplary officer and replacing him with someone who President Trump rightly or wrongly believes declared fealty to him, our commander-in-chief is sending a dangerous message to the force that loyalty, not expertise, or even a commitment to upholding the law will be rewarded. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. All right. It really is. But we've always told you that these times are coming. Let me get it. All right, for those of you that fan your hand, all right, and this is what Ezra said, all right. He said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. This is 2 Ezra 15, and now 15, it says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, this is a future event. This is prophecy. All right, for there, of course, swords in modern day, all right, it's talking about guns. It's not just talking about, the actual swords. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another." You can't see, all right, that this is right here at the door. See, Jake is just, hold on. Sedition, rebellion, uprising, revolt, factitious commotion in the state, factions, again, divisions. Mark 3rd chapter. All right, concerted attempt to overthrow civil authority, violent strife between factions. There go that word again. Civil or religious disorder, riot, rebelliousness against authority. Authority. All right, what did I say? Mark, and we'll come back to this. Mark 3rd chapter, started 23. All right, verse 24. "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end." All right, and that's what's happening. This place is through. It's only going to get worse from here, because now these tariffs and these maggots, these people that trusted him, as some of what was it, this farmer from Arkansas said, but Trump said, and I'm paraphrasing, Trump said he loved us. You, by all accounts, have let what seems to be from his history, a swindler, a con man, and that's exactly what he did to you people. You bear fault, because the majority of you racist bastards actually voted for him because you thought he was going to harm people such as myself more than you. Yeah. So who's supposed to feel sorry for you? Well, definitely not us. Now you farmers are about to lose your shirt, your drawers, and everything else, because you actually thought when Trump was telling you about Northern Kingdom, which you call Hispanics and Latinos, taking black jobs, you took that as meaning that once they were deported, that people such as myself were going to fill in that void and just go and pick crops and whatever have you in their place. No. All right. At least not voluntarily. But yeah, this is what you get. All right. You did this. You voted for that bastard, and it's not like you had a good choice, because the other one was just as bad, which should tell people this is just one sick fucking game. All right. It's really you can't win, because trust me, if you had voted for that other person, you really would have went crazy then. All right, but it's all heading like there's no healing of this place, as it says in Jeremiah 50. All right, there's no healing of this bruise, and it's only gonna get worse. Trump is doing what he's been instructed to do. All right, the people over him, yeah, he's just a puppet. Again, you don't believe us, but you will. But in any case, let me go back to the scriptures here. All right, let's go back to 2nd Ezra. Now, finish it out. 15 and 15. All right. Swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. You're seeing that. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You already got the guard all over, still here in D.C. All right. I think Georgia just sent, was it Georgia? Just sent more troops up here. let's see. As many shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. I just read that earlier, right, in Isaiah 13th chapter. All right, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. There's something else we've always said, and numerous brothers' videos. You idiots that got on social media telling people that uh, you've stored up all these goods and everything. You survivalist types. Yeah, all that in the end is not going to mean In fact, they got executive orders concerning that. All right, hoarding. All right, let's see. Behold, said, oh, that's it. That's the point. Yeah, it's gonna get rough here, because wait a minute. Let's go down here to 19. It says, we start at 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. This is the beginning. The beginning of famine and great death. Again, the economy is tanking. All right. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, these bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness. They're not. All right? They're not. Nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals, all right, shall be so good cheap upon earth. And it was a time not too long ago where that was the case. Not anymore. That they shall think themselves to be in good case. And Jake was. He thought, yeah, it's just going to be like this. The economy is going to it's going to bounce back from the way it was since the sea, that medical scare. All right. It says they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. All right, it tells you in Lamentations 4, all right, this is the worst way to go. All right, just pining away. Just slowly, and the body begins to eat it itself. It says, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there's no, remember the Amos 5 and 18 through 20. You're going to try to run from this, and down the line, something else is going to catch you. All right? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. That's coming. There's no escaping this. All these people got this money, and it's not going to help them. That's not what's going to save you. There's all kinds of scriptures on that. Your riches are not going to save you. All right. In fact, let me get that real quick. The one I remember. Let's see. Because it's going to be no good. Because it's Ezekiel 7, see around 15. All right. I'll start at 15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. Yeah, these cities are going to be death traps. Think about that. Those out in the rural areas, the ones your people, you make fun of, they're contrary with their, for the most part, they know how to survive out there. Being here, if there's no McDonald's, or whatever have you, a lot of people are going to lose their fucking mind. But they that escape of them shall escape and shall be on the mountains like doves of the valleys, all of them mourning, every one for his iniquity. Cause and effect, right? All hands shall be feeble, and all knees shall be weak as water. They shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all heads. And here's my point, verse 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Most High. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is in the stumbling block of their iniquity. All right. And this is punishment for all that. All right. So, hey, once again, damn. Wow. Yeah, they went in the Senate here, and they just goes to show you the strong grip that AIPAC, this Israeli lobby, has on these people. It's all going, it's over. It's just they're going to do things in order to try to hold on to power or reestablish it. And you people are not going to like it. And it's like I said, it's going to be total anarchy. All right? Because now they're going to say, well, because all this information is coming out that they are not the people that they portend to be. Yeah, that they're frauds. Yeah. So they're gonna have to tighten up. All right. So with that, I hope whoever views this has been edified. Hey, it's getting ready to get rough out here, and this is why we're giving you all this information. All right, Isaiah 33:6. All right, this shall be the stability of that times. All right, this is why we're trying to get it, as you say in the military, the brain housing group. Get it in there now. All right, because they're getting ready to shut all this off. So, all right, so with that, I want to also remind you once again to remain circumspect. All right, especially now, because like I said, these people have a tendency, and you know who you are, that they can't handle adversity too well, and they they take it out on everybody else. That's been their history. So with that, until the next video, shalom.